Well, good morning, folks. Welcome to Wake Up Well. It's lovely to be with you. Today we continue to round up our Furnace Week of Prayer that you and I hopefully enjoyed and joined in with. And Anna brought us a great word on this Sunday just gone about listening to God's voice and finding confidence and peace when we do. And so today I want to talk about the fact that God's voice is powerful. And we're going to read the whole of Psalm 29. Here we go. It says this: "Honour the Lord, you heavenly beings. Honour the Lord for his glory and strength. Honour the Lord for the glory of his name. Worship the Lord in the splendour of his holiness. The voice of the Lord echoes above the sea. The God of glory thunders. The Lord thunders over the mighty sea. The voice of the Lord is powerful. The voice of the Lord is majestic. The voice of the Lord splits the mighty cedars. The Lord shatters the cedars of Lebanon. He makes Lebanon's mountains skip like a calf. He makes Mount Hermon leap like a young wild ox. The voice of the Lord strikes with bolts of lightning. The voice of the Lord makes the barren wilderness quake. The Lord shakes the wilderness of Kadesh. The voice of the Lord twists mighty oaks and strips the forests bare. In his temple, everyone shouts, 'Glory!' The Lord rules over the floodwaters. The Lord reigns as king forever. The Lord gives his people strength. The Lord blesses them with peace." It's pretty cool, isn't it? When God speaks, things happen. In this psalm, we see, repeated again and again, that the voice of the Lord is powerful, and we're thinking about prayer and hearing God at this time. The voice of the Lord is powerful. It says in verse 4 that it splits mighty cedars, it splits trees. That reminds me of Hebrews 4, verse 12, that says that the word of the Lord is alive and powerful. It is sharper than the sharpest two-edged sword. It cuts between soul and spirit, between joint and marrow. It's that same picture of splitting cedar trees, of big, strong, mighty trees, as the word of the Lord comes. The word of the Lord can be destructive because the word of the Lord is authoritative, the voice of God. And, God's voice won't be tempered and it won't be obstructed. When God wants to speak, God will speak. It says, when God speaks, things happen. Verse 7, he strikes with bolts of lightning. Imagine that. That's a description of the voice of God in action. Full of power when God speaks. Full of creative force and energy. Boom, things happen when God speaks. So much so that it sets dry things ablaze. When lightning hits. Just imagine that as the Lord speaks in your life and my life today. Verse 8, he makes the barren wilderness quake, the voice of the Lord. Where there was seemingly nothing, something happens, something comes. There comes creation, there comes shaking, there comes the striking, and something happens. It reminds me of Ezekiel 37, where you get the valley of dry bones, and because the voice and the power and the Spirit of the Lord is there, life comes to those dry bones. So in other words, when God speaks, things happen, don't they? God's voice shifts things. God's voice creates things. God's voice breaks things. God's voice makes things. And his voice is very powerful, and he intends that you and I hear it. It's not an accident to hear the voice of God. So I encourage you today, remember the power of God. Remember the power of his voice. Make time to hear him speak in all sorts of different ways that he can speak to you and to me. Make that time, and let's expect things to happen to you and around you as you hear the voice of God. And I love how this psalm ends, Psalm 9, the response of hearing the voice of God. In his temple, everyone shouts glory. We praise, that's all we can do when we hear the hope and the purpose and the possibilities of the voice of God. So I bless you today to hear the Lord today and in the weeks to come.